How you guys doing? All right, there you go. I had to check the sound. Uh Things are going all right. I'm sort of washed out because and wrinkly, excuse me about that. Uh yeah, wrinkles stand out, I guess, on the film. Hey William, good to see you this Sunday morning. Uh yeah, so it's really warm today. It's gonna be like what's the temperature today?
The high for today will be 79 degrees, and the low will be 68.
79 degrees. What? Uh That's 80. That's short weather. That's crazy. Uh when is spring? Spring's in 2 weeks, right? The 21st. What's today? What is today? Today's the 6th. Uh Look at these curtains flap around in the breeze. This is ridiculous. Let's do this so we can sort of cease with the fluttering. Uh the wind is kicking. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't know what to make of it. Oh, they sentenced Jesse Smollett. That ought to be interesting. What did they get? Really? When did they sentence him? You see, he got sentenced on a Saturday. Maybe we'll do that. For God's sakes, I hate when it does that. Excuse me. All right, all right. I don't think that's better, but it is what it is. I actually think all the energy is coming from this window. Uh, Jesse Smollett. Let's look into it. Smollett sentencing. March 10th. Okay, you made it sound like he was sentenced already. We're gonna have to lower this and lower this. There you go. Come on, come on, come on. Give a brother a break. Uh oh. There you go. All right. What is going on with these blinds? We'll leave it there then. All right. So apparently he's going to be sentenced the 10th, and if today is the 6th, the 10th is Wednesday. I want to say the 10th is Thursday. Uh, the judge allows cameras in courtroom. That's your problem. All cameras in courtroom should be mandatory. They really should be mandatory. There should be a record of what the judge said and did, and if he violated any statutes, because the place is just ridiculous with uh, unjust convictions, right? People sentenced harshly, people who are connected not being sentenced at all. Uh, yeah, you got to fix it. Well, not you have to fix it. I mean, we as a people well, we're talking about the Americans here essentially should fix it. But hey, if there's something going on in your country, I hope that it will get fixed uh, with the consensus of multitudes of people versus one guy like some Russian oligarch that we all know. There was this woman on TV today, and she was talking about how the oil markets are up and Putin made $100 billion on oil last year. Like he invaded Crimea to make more money. I was like, why is it? Look, there's a ladder to this shit, right? It's first you go from being poor to wanting to be rich. Then you go from wanting to be rich to wanting to be powerful, right? And then you go from wanting to be powerful to wanting to run the thing, to wanting to have it all for you, right? And that's that. I mean, that ladder gets thinner and thinner. How many people are heads of state that stay there with no election, right? Not very many. Not very many. We're the only ones who churn democracies, right? We churn. Europe churns. Like Germany has a chancellor now that goes in every four, but Germany had a chancellor before. They also had a chancellor when they had like a king, essentially. Um, but the French, they have elections. We have elections. The British have elections, but the British have a monarch who, and someone needs to explain the House of Lords to me because someone told me that they're not elected. And I was like, wait, what? So do we want to look into the English system? Because I'm confused. Because again, Queen Elizabeth is the queen of England and Scotland and Wales and Canada and Australia. I don't know. I thought Canada was Canada and had a, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. So if we get along with that uh person who we fought two wars with, why don't we get along with any of these other? And we get along with the oligarch royal family of I'm about to say Sweden, but we do get along with the royal family of Sweden, but of Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that seems about right. The Russians have never been about their word, right? We strengthen our enemies. We strengthen China. We strengthen Russia. They should have fell a long time ago, right? I never really understood the fall of the Soviet Union versus the Russian, whatever this state is, the Free Republic of what is it called? The Free Socialist Republic of what is Russia's name now? They just changed their flag and they kept the same behavior. Russia. Federal Republic semi presidential system, constitutional republic. What is a fucking semi presidential system? What does that even mean? So yeah, and then it changed its flag. So I don't really know. It went from being a socialist republic to a federation. But Vladimir Putin has been there for 20 years and he's talking about taking it back to the Tsarist, Peter the Great kind of days of, right? But the famous Russian revolution of 1912, I want to say, when was the Russian revolution? I have a Wikipedia page open. Was against czars in Russia. So he he's just so full of shit. He wants something that the Russian Revolution, Civil War, Soviet Union, World War II, Cold War, post-Soviet Russia, 1991 to present. So they were Soviets then. What are they now? The Commonwealth of Independent States, Russia, Constitution cards, Russia, and the United Nations. So, okay. He took office in 2000. He's been there for 22 years, right? He essentially did what some people say J. Edgar Hoover was doing, right? He was essentially running the place. He had everybody's dirty secrets, who knew who was gay and who was cheating on their wives and who was doing all this other stuff, and he blackmailed politicians with it. And he was never removed. All these succeeding presidents kept him in place because he knew shit about them as they were running, gathered up stuff. So just in case they won or they didn't, he controlled, like he had a strong hand with them until he died, and then they revamped that whole office. They revamped the whole thing because it was a glaring hole in the system. Uh, that's why he can now be fired by the president. Um, with counsel from the courts. But before, uh, I'm pretty sure he could be fired. But I mean, with that kind of power, you weren't going to be. Uh, yeah, he made it his own fiefdom when he died there. Uh, so a lot of people say that Vladimir Putin did what he did. A lot of people saying that uh, Dick Cheney essentially slipped in, like with a like right into this position and just did his own thing as vice president. Because once you're on ticket and elected, you can't be fired, right? I guess the president could shut you out, but you know everybody. How's the president going to shut you out? So all these kind of weird things. He took care of Boris Yeltsin, who became Boris Yeltsin's number two. Saddam Hussein did this with their leader before he took over, and Hitler did it with the Chancellor of Germany before he became Chancellor of Germany. Became like his right hand man, and then sort of like got point to all these things and set up power, and then eventually took over. Right. So we see it all the time. I just wonder what they are now. So they just changed the name of a federal republic, put an old KGB guy in there who just kept running it like there was no revolution at all. There was no fall of Russia. I think that's what happened. And then they just went around KGB, start killing their own opposition people, journalists and whatever, and getting in bed with all these oligarchs around Russia and making themselves rich. They're essentially a gang. They were like a kleptocracy. Like everybody who supports them isn't just rich. I mean, they're stupid rich. They're all worth $200 billion, right? Own energy sectors and like Putin took the guy who he threw in jail. He took all his wealth. The guy had an oil company. He was, I think, the third richest guy in Russia. Threw him in jail, took all his wealth, and took it for himself. And so yeah, it's just kind of like wow. All right. Mind you, he was a civil servant. And now he's worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Likely a trillionaire. Banks won't tell he controls the banks. But here's the thing he can't leave office, he can't leave power. It's over for him. That's when he's not protected by anything. He has no army and no apparatus, and his enemies will come for him. So it's ride or die with him, right? He's not going to retire to some quiet place. He's got enemies in his own government who will then take power. All right. So after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Russia assumed responsibility for setting the latter external debts. In 1992, most consumer product controls were eliminated, causing extreme inflation and significantly devaluing the ruble. The ruble. The Putin era. December 31st, 1999. President Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned, handing the post to recently appointed prime minister and his chosen successor, Vladimir Putin. Just out of nowhere and gave it to his successor. All the people who had been in government forever was like, what the friggin' hooey? And then he just started, you know, consolidating power. Yeltsin left office widely unpopular with an approval rating as low as 2% by some estimates. Putin then won the 2000 presidential election and suppressed the Chechen insurgency. Putin went on to win a second presidential term in 2004 as a result of high oil prices. He was fixing these elections with the KGB. He wasn't winning anything. But you can't really say that, can you, in this thing? A rise in foreign investment and prudent economic and fiscal policies. Yeah, he came over here and bought all these college academics to go over there and teach in Russian schools, paid them three times what, you know, this is what you do. Ugh, just, yeah, the American system has taught Americans to be greedy, and foreign governments take advantage of that all the time, especially Taiwan, especially China, and now Russia. Right, one genius here will go over there and teach them this thing, one class, and that class will go then and propagate it. Then they'll assault your markets and all this stuff. And yeah, like I said, man, some of this stuff, intellectual properties are just all over China. Um, and now it's going to be all over Russia. Yeah, a lot of these people don't want to be Russian. There's your problem. Government and politics. Russia is asymmetrical federation, meaning top down. It's tribe. Yeah, oblast. The most common type of federal subject with a governor and locally elected legislature, commonly named after their administrative center, an oblast. A republic. Each is nominally autonomous with a specific ethnic minority. So they let, like, let's say the blacks run their shit. They let the Spanish run their shit. They let the Jews run their shit. They let the cat. But if you get out of pocket talking about more money and freedom and all this, like then the federal government comes down there and puts a cap on that, like this, right? Autonomous zone, which are autonomous in name only until you do something stupid. Autonomous districts, autonomous area, and autonomous regions, each with a substantial or predominantly ethnic minority. Major cities that function as that generally means we leave you alone, but you don't have any infrastructure. We don't give you money or aid. It's like the reservations with the Indians, right? Just giant, wide open spaces, and that no one cares about until you protest, and then you show up with an army. Major cities that function as separate regions: Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Sevastopol. Major cities that function as separate regions. So you have cities that act as their own thing. So New York will be its own thing for finances, right? Uh, LA will be its own thing for the film industry. It wouldn't really be a state. Wouldn't really. I guess it'd be a district. Um, the only autonomous oblast is the Jewish Autonomous Oblast. The Jewish Autonomous Oblast is a federal subject of Russia in the Russian Far East, bordering Khabarovsk, Khabraovsk, space, capital Krai, Khabarovsk, Khabarovsk, Krai, and Amur Oblast in Russia. Oh my God. The Heilongjiang province in China. Its administrative center is the town of Biro, Bidzhan, Biro Bidzhan. So okay, so their little town borders China. It lays inside this weird cutoff inside Russia. It's part of Russia, but like Russian borders, because it's and China borders, even though it's Russia, right? Okay. The Jewish Oblast. One, two, three, four, five, six types of places in Russia. Yeah, all right. Well, there you have it. Ooh wee. It is warm today. Uh of weddings coming up. So one of these days I told you if there's a wedding or anything like that back in June when we started this, I was like, I'm gonna try and stream every day, unless I get sick or you know, I'm in the hospital or I'm in jail, right? I'm going to try and stream every day. Then that took a whole lot. Like maybe not stream every day, but I'll try and stream most of the week, which I think we've been doing. Um, I don't think we've missed very many Saturdays. I don't think we have. Maybe three, maybe in 10 months. But coming up, I have a family event, right? I'm going to a wedding, and I won't be here likely for a Saturday and a Sunday combined. Just having a year, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Um, but that's all right. That is okay. I will not give up. I will not surrender. I took some pictures of some titles. Let's look up some of these titles that I looked up. So ex-police chief fakes his own death after being charged with 70 felonies, is arrested Anthony's William Anthony Spivey, 36, allegedly staged his own death in North Carolina and was arrested 3 days later in South Carolina because you're going to fake your own death and just go to the neighboring state. This is in the 1860s, man. You got to get paperwork in the body and then you got to get your ass the frick out of here. Just don't do the crime. Lord, 70 felonies, life conviction. Don't make any sense. We're not even going to read it. That's just a headline. Um, what is going on here? Where is it? I have a lot of pictures in this phone that I need to deal with. How many pictures are in your phone right now? We can get rid of this. We're not going to read that. So, in order to stop not remembering stories, I started taking pictures of things I want to talk about. So, don't be surprised if that's how we get these stories. Because I normally write them down. I had a book, and now don't even get me started. I'm not where I need to be on this topic. Um, Here's another one. Former Missouri detective sentenced to 6 years for killing man in his driveway. Uh, so let's look up that one because that one's crazy. He was convicted of 2 charges, each with 6 years. That's 12 years. The judge still lets him serve the 6 years consecutively. No, they run concurrently, which means they're next to each other. So every day is a day for each charge versus what you normally get, which is consecutively. After you finish 3 years of that charge, you have to do the 6 months of the other charge and the 2 years of that charge, prompting it all to string together to be what 5 years or 7 years or whatever the case may be. Or all those things could just be served together, or they could be time served. You know what I mean? Uh, so let's read that story. Good Lord, my typing is horrible. I don't even know. This is it. Let's read it. A former Kansas City, Missouri police, Dennis Romero, March 4th, 2022, 10:05 a.m. This was 2 days ago. A former Kansas City police, well, good Lord. I need to read aloud more. A former Kansas City, Missouri police detective who fatally shot a man who was in a truck at his own home. He wasn't at the cop's home. He was in his own driveway. Uh, Received a 3-year sentence for involuntary secondary manslaughter uh, in the death of Cameron Lamb, 26, and a 6-year sentence for armed criminal action. The sentence will run concurrently. So what's going to happen is he's likely going to do 2 years, and then they're going to say good behavior uh, for the 6-year sentence, and they're going to say the majority of his time was served on the 3-year sentence, and they're going to let him out. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't instill confidence in your belief in this system or your belief in your own safety when it comes to what. Uh, and I think it also lends itself to more of this kind of behavior, this kind of wild ridiculousness. Um, but this is not news, right? I wonder if I cut on that light, will it all sort of unwash me out? Let's try that. Ouch. Ugh. Let's see what we get. No, not better. All right. Let's read it. Eric Devalcanier, capital V A L K, excuse me, Enaere, Eric Devalcanier, okay, received a 3-year sentence for involuntary second-degree manslaughter in the death of Cameron Land, 26, and a 6-year sentence for armed criminal action. The sentence will run concurrently. Prosecutors said Land was chasing his girlfriend's convertible in an alleged stolen pickup on December 3rd, 2019. Police initially said they tracked the truck to a home and 2 officers confronted Lamb, who was in the pickup in the driveway. The Wagner who opened fire said in court that he feared for the life of his fellow detective because Lamb pointed a gun at him. I got so many questions. So the car was stolen? Here's the thing about a lot of this. I mean, I don't like to second guess cops, but there's too many of these kind of like deaths. So you have to look into them. Um, Normally, if you identify the person, you can pick them up at their house. So you don't need to do car chases, right? If once the guy is identified, uh, once you have him cornered in the car, he's not a threat to anybody but himself. You don't really need to shoot him, right? You don't need to engage him. You've got him contained. So all these kind of things is just, I think, is just lazy. Yeah, a lot more people could be alive if a lot more people weren't. A lot more people would be alive if a lot more people weren't sort of bad tacticians when it came to police work. I didn't say cowboys. I didn't say, afraid. I just said, think about the situation, what you can do to end it without killing anybody or shooting anybody. Wagner opened fire. The police said the police initially said they tracked the truck to a home and the 2 officers confronted Lamb, who was in the pickup truck in the driveway. The Wagner who opened fire said in court that he feared for the life of his fellow detective because Lamb pointed a gun at him. That pointed a gun is loaded. You can shoot a guy who points a gun at you. Here's the question. Prosecutors said the Valkyrie shouldn't have confronted the suspect on the property of his own residence without a warrant, which, yeah, it violates the Constitution, right? To be securing your persons and property. And that's your property. Your home is your property. So, yeah, it should be, if they'd have done this on the sidewalk in front of his house, they'd have been good. But yeah, the cops can't run up in your zone and fuck with your shizzle. Excuse my language. Prosecutors said Devakanier shouldn't have confronted the suspect on the property of his own residence without a warrant. They also questioned police evidence by asserting that Lamb had his left hand on the truck's steering wheel and his cell phone in his right hand before the shooting. See, there's your thing. They just tell you this story and go, yeah, but take our word for it. We had an investigation, everything's fine. And no one trusts you anymore. Cell phone in his right hand before the shooting. An officer was at the scene after the shooting said in court he didn't see a gun near Lamb's body, even though it was later seen in police photographs. This is what happens when people begin to really look into your police work. All of a sudden, photo evidence of what you said starts showing up when it wasn't there in the video. So now all of a sudden there's a gun there. Everybody, this is why, look, body cameras is the only way to ensure that people can trust their police departments now. And officers at the scene, see, and officers aren't trying to go to jail for you, right? Because if this does go bad, you lied on the stand, and then all of a sudden you're looking at 5 years, and you didn't even shoot the guy who's looking at life, right? So now it's better just go. I didn't see that. Then what did you see? Okay, I saw his hand out the right. Even though I don't want to tell the truth, here I got it, right? I'm working on a pension here. I got to feed my wife and kids. I got to pay my mortgage. I'm not trying to go to jail. Right? All good reasons to not lie in court. Uh, They also questioned police evidence by asserting that Lamb had his left hand on his truck steering wheel and his right hand on his cell phone right before the shooting. An officer who was at the scene after the shooting said in court he didn't see a gun near Lamb's body, even though it was later seen in police photographs. The victim's left hand was hanging out of the pickup driver's side window, the officer testified. Jackson County Circuit Court presiding judge J. Dale Young, who handed down the sentence, ultimately determined that Valconeers violated the land's civil rights by going onto land's property without a warrant or permission. It's a way to hold them accountable, even as they tried to rig a case. Right? We're not even going to look at where that gun came from because, man, we're just going to look at this. This convicts you. We're just going to close the door on it. The public get their pound of flesh. Nobody wants a pound of flesh. People want this shit to work right. Um, yeah, that sounds like what they did here. Violate land civil rights by going on the land's property without a warrant or permission. Demonstrators said, but here's the thing. If you can say he had a gun, then you can walk onto the property, right? You have to have a good reason. Life and safety, and then he pointed a gun at me. Every time I hear a pointed a gun at me story, I instantly go bullshit. Most people don't even get to point a gun at you. You know, if you're leveling a gun at somebody, if you're leveling a gun at me, I'm shooting you. That's what's supposed to happen, right? But the whole pointed a gun at me, I saw him. It's all pat. This is what you say in court kind of answers. That when you put them to the test, you run them through in real life scenarios, they make no sense. Demonstrators said the case was an example of yet another police killing involving a white officer and a black man. A march in June 2020 saw justice for George Floyd and Lamb. The mother of Lamb's three young son filed a wrongful death. Now, all right, all right. See, this is the thing. I said this before, and so let's go back. Let's go. Well, we know what this is. It's under that. Let's go back up here. Why he was caught there in the first place? Um, a former candidate was fatally shot him at Friday. 6-year prison sentence. Eric, 3 years. Third paragraph, right? Prosecutor said Lamb was chasing his girlfriend's convertible, so he obviously had some conflict with this woman, right? Uh, to their home where I guess they both share in a stolen. Who first of all, who'd you steal the convertible from? Was it give me your convertible so I can follow my girlfriend, right? Or was it your friend's car who you had for too long and who reported it stolen? What kind of? I'm just curious. Said the truck tracked her home. They initially lied about how they found this truck. And it looks like they're lying about this gun. um, And here's the thing about being lied to. I tell people, I was lied to for a living. I can almost hear it, right? And I'm pretty sure judges and lawyers get the same shit. They can tell, and not everybody thinks they're a good liar. Not everybody's a good liar. For one, I am not a good liar. I am absolutely a shit liar. So I generally do not lie. Small little white ones, yeah, everybody does that. But like, I couldn't fucking cheat on anybody. I couldn't have you cheat on somebody and you expect me to keep it a fucking secret. I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't want to lie for you because I'd be bad at it, and I don't want to be drawn into the bullshit. But that's a lot of people. Know thyself, right? I know what I'm good at, and I'm not what I'm not good at, and I'm not a good liar. Um, They were the police initially said they tracked the truck to a home and two officers confronted Lamb in the pickup in the driveway. The driver who opened fire that he's feared for the detective pointing gun. Prior to should have officer uh yeah, they didn't have a search warrant or a stay away warrant for her safety or anything, right? She didn't have a protection order of protection, which is essentially a warrant for him to stay away, for them to remove him. So, but they were just having some mother father nonsense. And now that he's dead, she's gonna sue because it's so cynical. It really is so fucking cynical. He would be alive if you guys had your shit together. The mother of Lamb's three young sons filed a wrongful, but he does have two young sons, filed a wrongful death lawsuit in June 2021 against the Valkyrie and the City Board of Police Commissioners. The suit alleges a continuing, widespread, persistent pattern of unconstitutional misconduct of the Kansas City Police Department. Wow, that is a sentence. Let's read that again. The suit alleges a quote unquote continuing, widespread, persistent pattern of unconstitutional misconduct. Unconstitutional misconduct? Unconstitutional conduct would have been fine. Unconstitutional misconduct of the Kansas City Police Department. Their misconduct is unconstitutional, but their conduct can be unconstitutional. I don't know. Um, in an email, Kansas City Officer Donna Drake, she's obviously the spokesperson. Kansas City Officer Donna Drake said the department does not comment on pending litigation to ensure fairness on all sides. No, it's more of to get our shit straight. This is what we all hide behind. This is bad form. All police departments. You should really have something to say about it. Show some fucking compassion. The Valkyrie was convicted November 19th. His last date of employment at the department was January 23rd. She said Drake did not disclose the reason for the end of his employment, citing Missouri Sunshine Law. Well, as far as I know, you can't be a police officer anywhere in America and have a conviction on your jacket. Um, they'll let some felonies go if you're a minor and the judge has sealed your shit. They'll let some of that go. But generally, you can't, no felonies as a minor, right? Oh, I did that when I was 15. I was young and stupid, but I've been clean. I went to college now. Yeah, they don't care. But if you have a misdemeanor, yeah, trespassing, and we broke some windows and we were dummies, stole a bicycle. Yeah, okay. When you were 15, yeah, okay, yeah, we're gonna let that go. And right, and rightfully so. But generally, no felonies and only a handful of really bullshit misdemeanors. Devakane was convicted November 19th. Okay, if he was convicted 6 months ago and his last point was January, I guess that's the process of them out. Sunshine Law. Days after Devakane was found guilty, police chief Rick Smith announced he'd retire in 2022. Yeah, let me take the money and run before they come for my ass. An attorney representing Devakane told NBC affiliate KSHB of Kansas City that appeal will be filed soon. Of course, appeals will be filed. Everybody files an appeal. Everybody does two things. Everybody pleads innocent, 98%. The majority takes a plea, really high in the 90s as well. Um, and those who are found guilty, 90% or so appeal. Young ruled previous Devakane could remain free on bond as he appealed, according to the station. Outside the Jackson County Court, her Friday Land's mother, Laura Bay, addressed a 6-year sentence. The bottom line is, we got the conviction, she said, but added later, there's truly no justice because my son is gone. Yeah, man. I mean, his family suffers too, right? I mean, I think a lot of these guys act like it don't bother them, right? But I think people change, and in your quiet times, maybe not now, but maybe when you're 65 and alone and quiet, these boys, these people that you disrespected and some that you killed will come back to you in your dreams, right? We're not always what we were when we were 19, and we're not always what we were when we were 30, and we're not always what we were when we were 50s and 60s. People change. Um, but there's shit you do that you can't come back from, even as you change. So yeah, sad, sad, sad. This Ukrainian thing is ridiculous. all these Russians who own these sports leagues all over the world, they should not be out of Russia. They shouldn't be. They essentially bought their way out from under oligarchy. The Chinese do it here too, and they shouldn't be allowed to. So now you're going to shut down all like Xbox and Xbox Live, and on a lot of like regular Russians, right? Can't use stuff now as a. So why? I mean, why didn't you do this with China? Right? I mean, it's a good plan, but those guys get to the rich people get to buy their way out, and the other people get to suffer with their nation. They shut down Facebook. There should be a Facebook in Russia anyway. I don't know. All right, we got a half an hour to go. I don't know. I think we may end the stream. So we were talking earlier about moving the stream to 11 on Saturday. I used to get up and go to Sunday service. It was 7 a.m. and it went to from 7 a.m. to about 8:30. Uh in my young man days. I mean, when I say young man days, I mean like 9 and 10 and 11, just to get it out of the way, right? Uh because the 11 o'clock was longer and hotter and more people, and that will go to 12, right? 12 31. Um and then somewhere along the way I fell in love with like going to my church and doing stuff in my church and being a part of the community in my church. And then I was there all the time on Saturdays and Sundays, right? It's a nice little Episcopal church. Um, Met cool people there, did cool stuff there. And while I hung out outside of church doing cool stuff then, right? Young man days. But when I say young man days, by then I'm talking about like 16, 17. Uh, how did I get on this Sunday rant? Oh, we were talking about moving the time. Um, I don't know. I think if I was more religiously based Sunday service, I could move it and justify it as a Sunday service. It's a service. It's a session, right? But we just talk about the world, and so it's not really a church thing that you can. I look. I want to see you here. Please come on through. Kick it with your homie. We call it Sunday session. We're spiritual, but we're not really even though we guarantee a clean soul for 2 weeks. We're not spiritual like most people are used to. So if you're open to new things, yeah. So in that regard, we may move it to just to be open to new things. Um, so the question is, should we move it to 11? 11 to 12? I like 10. It was early. It was at 8. Then it was at 9. Now it's at 10. Cause man, I was up yesterday till like 3 in the morning, 3:30, looking up uh guitar stuff. At this point, I look at way more guitar stuff than I play. I should be fingerly better. I'm mentally better, but my fingerlessness is not where it should be. So now I think the next 2 months is going to be nothing but fingerliness. Um, Got to get better. The Russian military is not abiding by the ceasefire. We are not surprised. Here's the thing: they're slowly pouring more and more people in there. Um, and we saw that helicopter hit by right. This is the early days of like this craziness, like the early days of the Iraq War when you saw them killing American soldiers. Until the American got a firm foothold in there, drones and airstrikes and started eating their lunch on a regular basis, right? So much so that you couldn't be seen walking around with a missile launcher because a drone 20, 40,000 miles above your head sees you. And then it follows you to the car, follows the car to the house, and then strikes the house with everybody in it. And then it will put it on YouTube and go, "Hey, insurgents, look at that!" And that would stay the hand of what maybe we won't be doing that, right? Because they would fire it and then drop it in a hole and cover with dirt and walk away, like right? But once the drones got up there with the UAV, the infrared, and they can spot you at night, they can see you during the day. I mean, some of that WikiLeaks video military footage is fucking amazing. Uh, there's one where they shot a drone missile all around this place, and they had orders to not to touch the mosque. Destroyed that whole place, and if you were able to make it into the mosque, you were safe. But people who ran into other houses, that whole village was destroyed from on high, out of the clouds at night by UAV drone strikes. There must have been about 15 of them, right? Wiped out cars, some got hit twice. You saw people, because the way it looks to me, they did it. It looked like they had 3 drones on station, either 3 or 2. Uh, one on high, right, and one wide, um, almost at the same elevation, doing this. So one taking pictures of the strikes, like a little higher up, and one doing the strike. So you could also see you had 2 camera angles on this, a wider angle uh of a more purpose angle of the POV angle of the firing drone firing, and you had another secondary shot of a second drone filming. Um, because there were multiple camera angles. I was like, how the hell did they get multiple camera angles on this? It was multiple drone strikes, and it made sense. Why? Because each drone had like 24 Hellfire missiles on it, and they literally went to town on that town. I guess it was an ISIS Al Qaeda town, but there was no every car got a missile. And the way it started out, the first one is like nobody knows it's coming. Then after everybody starts scrambling into buildings and into cars trying to drive away, it was just it was it, I mean, and that's what's coming. So you got to be able to defeat a drone, and I don't know how you're going to do that because, like I said, you can't shoot them down. They're 20,000 miles above your head, and they come in loaded for bear with munition, uh, pinpoint munitions that will, you know, land in your lap. I mean, firing a drone through a window is an amazing thing. And they do it just to say, go screw yourself. Yeah, we could have dropped it on the roof and destroyed the, but yeah, we want this to come on in your front door because it's always going to be filmed. So not only do you know what we're capable of, let the other people who are waiting in the wings thinking they're talking shit know what the American military is capable of. It really is amazing. I remember there was a short window where they had to have a guy on the ground with a laser and a drone, like you could paint the target, and they were like, we don't need to do that anymore. And now you don't even need to. They used to fire it from a guy in a jet. Now you don't even do that anymore. Just fly the tiny miniature airplane across the world and back. And the ill thing is, you can make one. There are drones that you can buy and put together that run on car batteries that are just that big or smaller and just have just that longer life, right? But they do, I mean, FCC requirement says you can't play with that stuff here. You have to have a special license for them. But it's amazing to watch. Man, YouTube is awesome. It's amazing to watch all that kind of amazingly cool stuff that I'm never gonna do. But like I watched a guy making chess sets, and I was like, I would love to make a chess set. A chess set I can probably make. We should put that on the list of things to do when we switch over. Um, I have a monetary amount. I'm trying to make an additional. I don't mind telling you this. I'm trying to make an additional $40 in 20-cent tips on this restreamer, uh, just to sort of see how long it takes. Uh, because I was like, really? Normally people give a buck. I'd be willing to give but 20 cents? It's just weird. Um, uh, so yeah, I don't think we're gonna move I don't think we're gonna move the time for the Sunday session. My guitar pedal has come together. I finally got that last thing that I didn't get forever. It finally came yesterday. Then I plugged it all up. It all works. It all sounds good. I sound like butt. I'm trying to find my sound. I've been fiddling with it. You guys may hear it soon enough. We're coming up on my year anniversary of trying to learn the guitar. June 12th. See? It's right here on this little sheet. It says June 12th. See, it says so. So we have a line, and I also I should write down when I quit drinking since we like these days. I want to say it was December 10th. Are we gonna put that on the things we quit list and keep track of that? I don't think so. It's not point. I want to keep track of shit. Um, it's kind of like what we do with the time. We run the timer. We pick up a new habit. We write the inception date of that habit. Uh, I think I'm gonna have to start exercising. So that's going to be an inception date. That may actually be a separate YouTube channel because good sweet Jesus, I walked by the window and caught a picture of myself in the mirror. And I was not happy. I just think that my skin is bad because I don't drink enough water. Uh, I'm not. I've been down and touched my toes like ugh, which is all the yoga I did seem to have worn off. So I have to stretching is that's good for you. It keeps you limber. God forbid you take a tumble, things still stretch like they used to. So it gets some good gooiness in your whole system. Uh I have to write on here the minor scale because I obviously not the minor scale, the minor uh two what is it? Two two minor, three minor, two minor. Hold on, wait. It's two minor. Good lord. I'll figure it out. Yeah, the more I fall into music holes, the more I realize I know nothing, but it's so interesting. Uh and it's really interesting because the way you can do it is you can do it at your own pace, and you gather up whatever information you happen to come across. Oh, I wonder what that's about. Then you look that up. But it's so hodgepodge, and some stuff will only make sense after you gathered up some stuff over here, and then the stuff that you read about here that you didn't get will kind of like all of a sudden light up, and you go, I remember reading that a few months back, and that that's fun. I should probably organize my learning of this better, better. Yeah, but yeah, we're coming up on a year. We'll see what happens with this. I always want to run mini marathons and marathons, right? Maybe you should try and get one of those under our belt. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do if you were not, you being meaning me, if I were not as sedentary as I have become during this pandemic. I used to not be this way. But I gotta tell you, man, I'm not really crazy about being around people. I don't know if it's becoming a thing to worry about, but I do have an invite. Where is this? Move this over here. I do have an invite to see Trippy Hippie play in who's another restreamer here. I'm so bad with the Trippy Hippie. So he's got a show he's gonna be doing, which is gonna be awesome. And I'm gonna go through that as a get myself out into the world kind of thing. Because I think I might be. And this is how things happen, right? They generally, I mean, they can happen overnight, make that big and then shrink this. They can happen overnight, but like a car accident that nobody wants to drive, right? Plane scare, nobody wants to fly anymore because they saw a horrible thing, right? And it's instantly fused into your right. That can happen. But sometimes it can be this slow, steady creep into things, and you look up one day and you're afraid of something, you're not doing stuff anymore, you're not going out, and you know what I mean? And you have to keep an eye on yourself because, like I said, people are creatures of habit, but people do change. And you'll look up one day, and all of a sudden, like you're a hoarder, you've got a house full of cats or puppies or newspapers or whatever the case that your hoarding is. If I was a hoarder, I would hoard comic books. So it would be paper, right? I love comic books. In the days before the internet, people had a ton of like old newspapers stored, and now newspapers are a thing. I was about to say a thing of the past. They're still around, but newspapers are not the dynamic force they used to be. Okay, so where is my phone? My phone. Inception of me trying to make films. Maybe we gotta get one of these, draw a camera on it, and start writing how to edit, how to produce, what's a camera angle. But I'm in love with this. That idea, I like it, but it seems like work. This seems like I need to get my head on something cool and interesting. And I instantly saw all the possibilities. With filming, I've worked in film and I've seen other people's film. And I've worked on other people's films. 350. Wait, your daily William in the chat says, I'm sorry. For all of a sudden I manifested my dad with like 350. Daily Boston newspaper is 350 a day. They're trying to keep these newspapers in business when you can get the same information online. And people get rich online. So if you had a good model, you can make revenue online. I'm not buying it, literally and figuratively. 350 for a newspaper. How much is the New York Times? I think the New York Times. How much is the Sunday edition? How much does a Sunday newspaper cost? Year. $14 a year, 15 to 2020, 1586, 2021 is the cost today. Today, 713 inflation rate. That's how much does a daily newspaper cost? Time 65, Daily Mail 45, Daily. So this is the Sun 35. I guess P is how much Sunday paper at Walmart? $2. They're saying. South Africa. Yeah, this is obviously a British. Clicked on a British sort of. How much is the New York Times Sunday paper? $5. Times spokesperson Ellen Murphy says the big Sunday newspaper still costs the same. $5 in New York area and six in the rest of the country. And the cost of first of all, I can't get the New York Times here. I remember reading the New York Times on the bus. We had to fold it. It was a big, and you had to flip it, and there was a New York Times fold. Then they shrank the paper down to save money, almost the size of every other newspaper, and it sort of became less interesting. Um, $5 for the New York Times Daily News. But I mean, I used to read the magazine section. I used to read that all week. That's what that's for. I didn't clip coupons, although right now I might clip coupons. Um, I read the art section, right? There's a separate art section. Magazine section, art section. You read the paper proper. I did the puzzle, New York Times crossword puzzle, and the jumble. I remember as a kid when you learned that to read other newspapers, you realize the first thing you ask yourself is why aren't there any cartoons in this newspaper, right? Because the Daily News had and the Post had, and your dad read those, and then you branch out to other newspapers, and all of a sudden the New York Times doesn't do cartoons because they're so 5 freaking dollars for a New York Times newspaper. Woo wee! All right. Do we have anything else before we slide off into our Sunday? I mean, bombing, random people getting murdered off. I'm telling you, man, we make conflict sometimes so people can sell paper. Some of these art titles, I'm just kind of like, It's not really a story. You're trying to make it a story, but it's not really a story. But if I said that whatever mob, the Twitter mob, the YouTube mob, the mob would show up in my online life and just cause havoc for me, and I don't really need the freaking drama. Saudi police shoot kill man after he crashes into the federal building. Did he do it on purpose? Massachusetts trooper Tamar Busey dies at 34 in a tanker truck crash after trying to help motorists. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's how most cops get it, right? It's car accidents. It's random stupidness. Uh it's not shootouts like the movies. I mean, the three most dangerous cop jobs are car stops, domestic violence calls, and traffic stops. Car stops mean pull you over to let's see your license, right? That guy might have a body in the trunk, might be just out of jail, not going back, right? So you never know who you're stopping. That's a car stop versus traffic accidents, which is you going to a scene of a crime and someone not paying a scene of a car accident, right? It's not a traffic, it's a car accident, and somebody not paying attention, plowing through and slamming a car into you, right? All these kind of like weird, um, or you're standing out in the open directing traffic and somebody hits you because they're driving fast and don't expect there to be a person standing in the, and then yeah. So I mean, it's just other than that, barrel of laughs, boys and girls. Barrel of laughs. Um, but the more I think about film, the more I will. Hold on. Do I want to even sketch a film? Oh wait. Can't use this. I have to go get more. Can't use this one. Luckily, I guess I won't be doing that today because I'm not going to the store. See, that's impetuousness. I almost opened a book of film just to write down ideas. But that was supposed to be a book of lyrics to accompany this book. And then I never wrote, well, I wrote a verse and a chorus. Not good. Not good. I was reading something about, watching something on YouTube about songs. Just write them. They're all horrible. Just write them. Get them all out of your system. All the bad songs will come forth and gush out, and you'll get it all out. It's sort of like a purge. Like if you ate something bad and you have to get it all out now, uh, and then you're like clean, and then you can take in the new nutrients and new like, and then process that into like new stuff. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how many of those you have to get those horrible songs out of you are in me. And one guy said he must have wrote like 50. Another guy said he must have wrote 200. Right. But I don't think it's that much. I just think they're talking that way. Because, like I said, the Beatles, uh, John McCarthy, Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday at 18. Right. So it's still a beautiful, timeless song. Uh, and I have been listening to music my whole life. I kind of have an ear for it, even though I don't know what it is. And so do you, even though you don't know what it is. So maybe if you sat down to write lyrics and you know poetry, you wouldn't have to write 500 lyrics to be a good poet lyricist, right? Maybe you just need to shake off the cobwebs and write 10 or 20, maybe 50. Um, Seen your video of new military equipment at Saudi Arabia defense show. Yeah, Saudi Arabia does not want to fuck around with us. Why does she look familiar to me? She looks like I know her, but I don't know her. Okay, I don't know who this is. Everybody's got a more interesting podcast than I do. This is sort of getting, I mean, you know, you really need to up your game, is actually what you need to do. All right, let's see what we got here. Good Lord, 39 minutes. All right, we can't fuck with this right now. Look, the magic of modern day military is the internets. And I think the gap closes all the time, right? So just because we're the big dog now, and we were the only one to have a nuclear weapon, and we were the only one to have a nuclear weapon for about a year and a half before the Russians stole it, flipping arrogance and shit. Um, yeah, we'll see. And once everybody gets it and they go, yeah, you know what? I don't want to work to women shouldn't be able to drive, and you can't stop me from doing XYZ because I have a nuclear weapon, and I'll just, it's like the guy in the bar with a gun just kind of swinging around, waving, "Don't you come near me!" You're gonna have to deal with it eventually, right? You're not a real person. You're right. You're not a real guest or whatever. You're you're an ominous threat to the peace of this event. And I look at the world as like a party, right? And every now and then, North Korea will kick something over, and then the people at the party will have to fucking deal with him. But everybody essentially is trying to have a party or a gathering of someone. Let's say whether a wedding or whatever event is going on. Let's say we're giving. Oh, you know what? What does all the worlds do every year? They go to the UN to talk shit. So it's like you all gather at the UN to give each other cake, right? But every year, people who aren't invited or are invited by others are just ridiculous. They show up there. You talk about, people who aren't invited to the party and some people who shouldn't be invited to the party. That kind of energy. And having said that, Russia telling you that you can't do X, Y, Z in these places, he has no authority. He has no authority. Him saying you can't have a no-fly zone over the Ukraine has no authority. But the decision is smart not to have one. Not to have a no-fly zone over it because it's going to come into the direct shooting war with Russia. And if that day comes, it shouldn't be through some third party functionary. It should be because we said, you know what, we fucking had it with you, right? And now we're coming for you, as is the American way. Versus just kind of like being backed into these wars for people, which is also the American way. Uh, whoo it is. I can feel it get a little chillier. What's the weather outside?
It's currently raining and 73 degrees.
It's currently raining and 73 degrees. Is that what I'm feeling? It is not raining. Come on. You know what? As a robot girlfriend, she's not. So what is it? Hold it. What is this? This one, Siri. This is Siri. And the other one is, I'm about to say Stella. What's the other one that you get from, do you get from Amazon? It's not on your phone. Alexa. Alexa? It's Alexa. Um, there's going to be another one eventually. You know there is. Yeah, you already know two AIs. Stella. Why not? Alexa. Alexa. Amazon Echo is Alexa. I thought it was another one. Well, am I thinking Stella? No one would name an AI Stella. Yeah, I didn't think so. So it's Siri. How you spell Siri? Good lord, how do you spell Siri? Sisier. That's Sierra. No, how do you spell Siri? Siri? Ciri? How you spell Siri? Siri? How the hell do you spell Siri? Oh, is it Siri? Oh, Lord, these people. Right. Okay. So Ciri is Siri from The Witcher. Siri is Apple Siri. Siri, look up Siri spellings. Then there's Sirius Satellite. That's spelled weirdly, right? Alternate spellings for the name Siri. Seeree. That's Siri. Siri, Seighrei. That's like neighborhood, right? Sleigh bells, right? Sleigh. A lot of EIGHs in there. Say, say neighborhood. Nay, say Ray. Neighborhood. Seighrei. Say Ray. Siri, Seri. Siri, Sery. There's a place Siri in England, right? Am I right? There is a Siri in England. Sery. Is it Seurry? Surrey. That's what I'm thinking of. Surrey in Scotland? Surrey County, VA. There's a Surrey County here in Virginia. I'm down a rabbit hole on Siri now. All right. Siri, Siri. Siri, Suri. Surrey, Sury. And Siri, Syry. User user spelling suggestion Siri, Syri. Okay, I accept one, two, three, four, five, six of these. One, two, three. Okay, six of these 10 spellings. Lyra. Wait, is that is that Latin where the L's are pronounced like S's? Lyra. Etymology. Lyra. Yeah, liars. Well, is it liars or liars? I hate. All right. We're gonna stop before we hurt ourselves with all these rabbit holes. Oh, good lord, we got 38 seconds. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put on stopwatch now, and then we're gonna go back here, and we're gonna let the whole thing finish. I think I was late by 10 minutes. Why do I stream for an hour and 15 minutes? Because it always gives me issues when I look at the clock, and I would be so neat. Um, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. I love the giant disappearing circles. I wish there were other ones. Really do wish there were other ones. Setting suns, bouncing balls. I don't know. Pulsing heartbeats. Time is everything. All right. Artificial solution, Lyra. It's weird. This room smells weird. It smells like I've been working in plastic, but the only thing I have going on here is this new pedal. That's the problem with a weird nose. You ever have a smell memory, and all of a sudden you're like, huh? Soccer adds 10 minutes. All these pictures of women running with their children, trying to get out. This is horrible. Oh my God. Second attempt to evacuate Mariupol appears close to collapse. Oh my gosh. An 18-month-old baby pictured being rushed into a hospital by his parents was killed by shelling. Oh my God. An 18-month-old baby is dead. I mean, let me see if I can dim this enough to be seen. I mean, you can see the blood on the blanket. Look at the mother's. I mean, look at his little hands. They're white. Oh my God. I mean, it says an 18-month-old boy pictured being rushed into hospital by his parents was killed by shelling in Mariupol. Oh my gosh. What do you do? What do you do? Just 300 people have left. Just 300 people. Just three. Just 300 people have left the southern Ukraine port city as Russia is accused of shelling humanitarian corridors. Can you imagine somebody just randomly bombing New York? Giant congested place like that. I pick New York because it's congested, where no one can get away from this, where every falling bomb is going to kill somebody. Or what other congested places you have? Chicago. I mean, congested, like millions and millions of people. Los Angeles proper. Oh man, I don't even know what to tell you. An 18-month-old baby. You tell your people not to cease fire, and they fire anyway. Means there was never a ceasefire to begin with. I mean, one thing militaries do that make them military is they follow orders. Someone told them, "Don't even worry about that ceasefire," and that was their orders. So all this ceasefire song and dance is for our benefit, you and the common man's benefit, the common everyday dude's benefit. So sad. 16 months old. The mother's shirt is covered in blood. The baby's blanket is covered in blood. I mean, ah, it don't make no sense. It really don't. Why did Mark Meadows register to vote at an address where he did not live? That seems like voter fraud. Why did Mark Meadows register to vote at an address where he did not reside? In September 2020, Donald Trump's then chief of staff claimed to live in a mobile home in North Carolina. Your chief of staff lives in a mobile home in North Carolina? Mark Meadows, let's aim this at me. Mark Meadows, who grew up in Florida, moved to North Carolina in the 1980s and opened Aunt D's, a sandwich shop in Highlands. He later sold the restaurant and started a real estate company with a line in vacation properties. He showed a few to my parents in the 90s. He became active in local Republican politics and in 2012 ran for Congress and won, going on to represent North Carolina 11th District until March 2020, where he resigned the seat to become President Donald Trump's chief of staff. Earlier that month, he sold his 20. Earlier that month, he sold his 2,200 square foot home in Sapphire. He and his wife Debbie also had a condo in Virginia near Washington D.C. But at the summer, but as the summer passed and the elections neared, Meadows had not yet purchased a new residence in what had been his home state. Oh, this is to get around it. On September 19th, about 3 weeks before North Carolina's voter registration deadline for the June election, Meadows filed his paperwork on a line that asked for his residential address, where you physically live, the form instructs. Meadows wrote down the address of a 14 by 62-foot mobile home in Scaly Mountains. He listed his move in date for this address as the following day, September 20th. So sketchy. Meadows does not own this property and never has. Ooh. It is not clear that he has ever spent a single night there. He did not respond for a request for comment. The previous owner, who asked that we not use her name, now lives in Florida. There was just That was just a summer home, she told me when I called her the other day. She seemed surprised to learn that the resident was listed on Meadows forms. He's playing real estate games. Did it say he was a real estate guy earlier in this story? He had a sandwich shop, then he became a real estate guy. And he later restaurant and started a real estate company. All right. Um, but only spent 2 nights there. That after he became the summer home. She said that was just a summer home. She told me when I called her up the other day. She seemed surprised to learn that the residence was listed on Meadows' form. Meadows is Meadows. His name is Meadows. Meadows is okay. That makes sense. Forms. The property sits in the. I'm sorry. The property Meadows is the property sits in the southern Appalachian Mountains at about 4,000 feet in the bend of a quiet road above a creek in the Macon County. Above a creek in Macon County. It sits in the southern Appalachian Mountains about 4,000 feet in a bend of a quiet road above a creek. So he's up in the mountains by the. Okay. He doesn't own it. Maybe he tried to buy it. Maybe he was thinking about buying it. She and her husband bought it in 1985. We come up there for 3 to 4 months when my husband was living, she said. Her husband died several years ago, and the house sat mostly unused for some time afterwards, she said, because she had nobody to go up there with anymore. Aw, aw. Creepy old mountain in the woods and the mountain. Yeah, no thank you. Um, It always starts out as like a sex party, right? Ooh, yeah, I got this cabin up, you and me, baby, baby. Ooh, I bring the whips and the jello and the crazy, crazy, craziness. And then there's a killer with an axe up there, or it's buried on an Indian burial ground, or it's a cabin in the woods scenario where somebody, yeah, no, no, thank you. Cabin in the woods by I'm sure it's bucolic. I'm sure it looks beautiful. No doubt about it. I don't want to go. I had nobody to go up there with. All you know was a ritual sacrifice is why he's not here anymore. All right, enough of that. She lost her husband. Stop being an asshole, Sean. I apologize. Had no one to go up there with anymore. She only rented it out twice, she told me. The first renter, she said, was Debbie Meadows, who, according to the former owner, reserved the house for 2 months at some point with the past few years. She couldn't remember exactly when, but only spent 1 or 2 nights there. She reserved it for 2 months, but only was there 1 or 2 nights. Yeah, sounds like a rich lady. She couldn't remember exactly, but only spent 1 or 2 nights there. The Meadows kids had visited the place too. She said the former owner was in Florida at the time, but her neighbors, the Tellys, whom she described. Oh, so maybe they took it for 2 months and said, "We've got this house for 2 months. Go, you can hang out there." And the kids use it. Perfectly legitimate. Um, in Florida at the time, but her neighbors, the Tallys, whom she described as friends of the Meadowses, debriefed her later As for Mark Meadows, she said he did not come. He's never spent a night there. Okay, so the family has been there. Maybe the family really liked it. We were going to buy it. Mm, think about it. Oh man, we need to have residency if I'm going to run again, and we got to get in this window because. And then you do this, and then you vote, and you shouldn't have. Yeah, yeah, true. Remember snowball fights with ceasefire? You step out and get hit in the face. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The former owner had put the mobile home on the market in 2020. I knew it. But the Meadows never expressed an interest in buying it. This is a long ass article about voter fraud. This is a long ass article. We are not finishing this article. This is you know what I like? I like people, well, it's the freaking New Yorker. They write really long articles and they go on and on. They drone on and on. Um this is what I'm looking for. Did Meadows potentially commit voter fraud by listing the Skelly Mountain address on his registration form? It's a federal crime to provide false information to register to vote in a federal election. Under President Trump, the White House website posted a document produced by the Conservative Heritage Foundation intended to present sampling of long and unfortunate history of election fraud in the U.S. Many of the cases sampled involve people who registered to vote at false addresses, including, for instance, second homes that did not serve as a person's primary residence. So just because you own that home, you have to spend your time there. You can't just own it. He didn't even own it. So he potentially committed voter fraud. The Republicans are always on about voter fraud. And it looks like Donald Trump's chief of staff committed voter fraud. Cohen pointed out to me another problem with the registration. I'm skimming this. We're not reading the whole thing. Also connected to the address. You can't claim to live somewhere that you haven't moved to yet. And Meadows listed his moving date as the day after he signed and the dated form. In theory, this could invalidate the registration. Ooh, man. All right. So what does Mark Meadows say about this? In January 2020, Meadows took a job with the Conservative Partnership Institute, a nonprofit founded by former South Carolina Senator and former president of the Heritage Foundation, Jim DeMint. No group has played a more critical role in helping conservatives stay true to their principles in the hostile Washington swamp. They're always the victim. They're always talking war against somebody. It's how they raise money. So now you're waging war against the established political people who run. Okay. Why you can get people to go there to do what? Take over? No, just be there. Yeah, racist bullshit is what it is. How to be relevant when you are irrelevant? Yeah, they need who? What Mike Pence is running? What background? What background? What background? A vice president background. What following does he have? What backing? What I mean, other than corporate backing, he's got no following. Why is he running? Trump's light is fading, by the way. So yeah, and the way the American media work, it it pushes narratives, and now it's pushing a narrative that like everything's fine, and the only thing you have to worry about is the Ukraine. If Russia took the Ukraine today, you're not affected by it as an American citizen. I hate to say it, you're not. Uh, a large percent of Europe isn't, and those who should be worryful are people members of the ex-communist blocs who are not members of NATO. Don't know. But people raising money here to send over there seems like a bad idea to me. Yeah, I think he's in trouble. That's wordy. Let's look it up someplace else. Mark Meadows. Don't cry for Mark Meadows brackets or let him cry to you. That's a pretty good uh article right there. Mark Meadows under fire for backing Trump in Mar-a-Lago record. Don't cry for Mark Meadows. An analysis look at Mark Meadows' text in the days leading up to. Mark Meadows tries to defend document destruction. Mark Meadows says Trump White House was very diligent. Mark Meadows calls for safeguards against spying technology. Wow, way to go out on a limb there, Mark. Mark Meadows said National Guard would be ready to protect pro-Trump people before. Yeah, they're just they're just idiots. They're all just morons. Let's look up Mike Pence. Who is backing Mike Pence? Mike Pence. Pence condemns Republican Putin apologists. Pence hits Trump. No room in GOP for apologies for Putin. Pence says there's no room in the GOP for apologies for Putin in veiled shot. Yes, he does. Just say what he said. Mike Pence lands Russian supporters. Okay, let's get into the news of it. Mike Pence condemns. Mike Pence hits. Mike Pence says there's no room. Mike Pence slams. Mike Pence draws contrast with Trump on Putin. Mike Pence, Vice President Pence, no room. Pence, no room. Apologies for Putin. Citing Ukraine war, Pence fortifies his break with Trump. Swiping at Trump, Pence says no room. Okay, I don't see him running for office. Is Mike Pence running for president? Ooh, there you go, Mike Pence 2024. How Mike Pence just doomed his 2024 chances. CNN, take it with a grain of salt. DeSantis refuses to take sides in Trump Pence clash. Mike Pence Mike Pence's constitution. Mike Pence is no hero, and he never stood a chance in 2024 anyway. The GOP has no standard now. Donald Trump faces growing GOP revolt. Oh, really? Could Mike Pence beat Donald Trump in 2024? What polls show? Both of these articles are from. One is 3 weeks away, one's 4 weeks away. Both of these are from Newsweek. Mike Pence committed a cardinal sin by GOP standards. He can kiss 2024 goodbye 2 weeks ago. Does Mike Pence have a chance against Donald Trump 1 week ago? Mike Pence begins making his play for Republican presidential nomination in 2024. 1 day ago. Yeah, I don't think he's got a shot. I don't think he's got a shot, Mike Pence for president. Whatever. I would like to remember that Donald Trump, even though it wasn't a ginormous amount, took votes from the Democrats via people who never vote Republican, like black people, black men in particular. So, I mean, the Democratic Party should be looking to shore up those lost votes, and they don't care. You know, I found that whole speech, the segment about Black Lives Matter and do what we tell you, and we're not going to defund anything and get in line, to be incredibly insulting. And fuck that guy. I'm not doing it. See you at the next one. My whole mission now is not to vote Democrat. You can go kick rocks because again, Breonna Taylor shot in her home while she was babysitting her 7-year old, killed her in front of a child, was unwilling to even bring charges against incompetent police work. I'm not calling it racism. I'm just calling it incompetent police work. I think the reaction to it is racism. So we will see. Killed I forget his name. The names come fast and hard. Killed him in his house a couple of weeks ago. So Good Lord. Woman found buried under Fort Worth home. Sent text messages for help. They found her body along with all these other women's bodies. Locke's death has provoked an outcry against no-knock warrants with a push by his family and others to ban them. They should be banned. First of all, you should be able to read the warrant, sneaking in your house, screaming warrant, and then shooting people. I maintain that you should be able to read that. Not like, yeah, we got one, fuck you. Not everybody is a fucking giant criminal that you have to fear. We err on the side of us, so if we kill you and your children, oh well. That's bullshit. And it's always been thus. Hundreds of people gathered to mourn Amir Locke, a 22-year-old black man who was shot dead by police during a raid on his apartment. The latest in a series of killings by law enforcement. Yeah, February 17th. This year, we don't even have to read it because there's going to be another one in about 10 days while Joe Biden tells you that there's nothing wrong. Just go about your business and vote for us. I still maintain that something weird is going to happen this month. I think it's a death, but I think something very fucking weird is going to happen this month to totally change the setting uh, of this Ukrainian thing to make it either a wider farce. Um, yeah, and I think that comes with a death. Somebody will accidentally shoot down a plane, someone will die, and someone else who want to be important will take over as the leader and walk us deeper into the bullshit. I don't know, whatever. Or somebody will be die, and then someone who takes over will be a pussy and get run over, and that could be anybody. That could be. I think it's going to be old people, but that could be Zelensky in Europe, right? He could capitulate. Something weird is going to happen. It's not just going to be a this weird war. Something weird is going to happen. No fly zone is not going to happen. No European troops are going to happen. No America. I heard that there was 100 American troops there, and I was just kind of like, you fucking idiots. But they're not going to be armed, so we don't know what's really going on here. But I will say this: as someone who I try and care for everybody, but at the same time, I got problems here that I'm trying to fix. I can't be concerned about the Ukrainians and the Palestinians, right? And the Uyghurs and all these other groups while I'm being done in here. Why isn't anyone raising money and supporting me? Charity begins at home. A lot of this is BS. All right. Are we gonna end this? I think we're gonna end this on that. Uh it's 5 minutes before noon. It's your Sunday. Go do something spectacular with it. It is freaking 80 degrees here today. I don't even know what to tell you. The sun came out. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow. uh yeah, I have to run to the bookstore and get more of these. Maybe I will start a loose thing of how to put together better videos for YouTube because that is definitely mandatory. I got love for you. Take care of yourself. Don't be an asshole. Be a homie. Um, do the right thing by yourself. Do the right thing by your friends and your family. But try and have an eye. Don't be a bleeding heart, but try and have an eye to other people. A little charity is good in the world, but don't give away your food and then go hungry, right? But nobody's saying even eat less, right? Eat what you're gonna eat, but maybe you can spare a little bit for somebody that like down the line, not even every day, right? And that is how it begins. Uh More war. Good lord, I don't even know what to tell you. Um, yeah, this whole thing seems weird. It seems weird, especially the hell. It seems both ridiculously brutal, that helicopter being shot down, and ridiculously ridiculous that that rocket launcher being stolen by the guy and his tractor, right? ridiculously heartbreaking. That picture we just showed you of that 15-month-old baby killed by, yeah, the look on the mother's face, right? It's just, it's so bad. It's so bad. Maybe he'll just stop. Maybe the world will call his bluff and it'll look horrible until April 1st. And then he'll go, okay, all right. I'm still at least the undisputed king of Russia. But that sends weakness tones, right? And then people in Russia will come for you. I don't know, man. Something weird is gonna happen. We'll see. Uh Maybe I'm just paranoid and crazy and nothing weird happens. And then you can go, hey, you said something weird was gonna happen. What happened to that? And I can be like, yeah, I apologize. All right. That's it for us. Go enjoy your Saturday. Yes, yes, Saturday. I wish, right? You get an extra day. Go enjoy your Sunday. Try and get some fresh air in your lungs. Yeah. I wonder if I can find that video and show it to you because I keep mentioning it, but it's so ridiculous. Uh Ukrainian farmer steals missile launcher. Or maybe it was just a launcher. I don't have to write missile launcher. Yeah, here it is. All right, we're gonna show you this before we get the heck out of here. Can we even show you that? Yeah, I think we can show you this. Present on stream. Why can't you make these bigger? The guy's, yeah, he's just running behind it. Why can't you? Why is that the one? Oh, guys, you suck with this. Don't put it enlarged. Oh boy! All right, hold on. Da-da-da-da. Here's another one. Two Ukrainian farmers steal a Russian advanced SAM. I'm like, dude, what? Where's your security? What kind of military? What is going on over there? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That is not even the one I was talking about. Installing tracks on a tractor. Here's the other one. Without the music. Oh, good lord. Hold on. Hold on. Ugh. Uh, so okay, this is attack. And he's running behind it. I mean, where he's the only one running behind it. Cancel this. I mean, where's the rest of the people? I mean, where's your team? Oh my god, it's so goofy. All right. Let's close this. Let's come back over here. Let's hit this. Let's hit that. Let's come back to oh wait, we can go here. And we're back in the chat. Can you imagine? So yeah. It's the wildest stuff. I mean, the one thing about the American soldiers in Iraq, you were not getting that close to them or their equipment. And then, like we said, we saw that helicopter down that we showed yesterday. I won't show it again, but good lord. I mean, I've watched this video a lot. Just it stop it. Uh, I'm tired of 20-year-old black people telling me about what black people should be doing. Because it's not really about black history or anything, black social movement. It's about buying stuff or turning your attention to other people's interests, like vote for this person or do you know what I mean? Uh, woo wee. I mean, That helicopter hit is just fucking crazy. Ukrainian armed forces claim they have shot down a Russian military. I love like you have to say claim, but you can show the video, and it's at like it's like I claim to have eaten a sandwich while meanwhile I'm sitting there eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This video is just ridiculous. Wow. And the thing is, you can see two trail. You can see smoke. You can see the smoke from the missile, the rocket launcher, as you can also see the smoke from the explosion middle air, and then the smoke from the as the plane, the trailing smoke as the plane crashes into what I think is a house. Uh yeah. I mean, you couldn't have asked for I mean, it's like you could. Oh boy. Do we even want to show you this again? We're gonna show you it again because I gotta tell you, I've been analyzing the ever. Oh, here you go. Present on stream. I've been analyzing the frick out of this. Like I said, I watched it a lot. It's sort of just it's all. Can I even slow this down? We're gonna watch it through. All right. So here you go. Right, frozen, 0 frames. Here's the missile. So when we get this moving, I want you as a because it remember it's not a static shot, right? The camera pans only a little bit, which is good because otherwise the crash will be out of frame. So but it keeps everything neat. It's really tightly done. Uh, because over here, um, there isn't any. I can't show you that over here. Can I show you? Oh, there isn't any. Oh yeah, I can show my guy over here. There isn't any house or anything, but you can see the smoke trail. And then these guys must have been like, "Holy shit, PO tray," right? And then, I mean, there's nothing you're doing. You can't even hit the trigger to blow it out of the sky. All right, so let's go back a little. Impact point. Oh, good lord, I did it again. Impact point. Camera moves, right? We've got a little more room over here. This looks to be like a rail system in the back of a farm. Like I said, look at how much light this is. If this was higher up, this fat glare wouldn't have shown up so bright on the ground. Uh, and you can see where it came from. As we pan over, keep your eye. I gotta keep. As we pan over, keep your eye on the smoke trail. You can almost know where the guy was when he popped out of whatever he popped out of and shot this thing. Right, they're dead right here. But a new smoke trail happens. Right, this is the original one. This is the impact cluster. Right, explosion. This is the burning wreckage. See, the camera tilts again. There's a rail back here, and there seems to be, I don't know what this is. These aren't houses because for houses to be that small, this has to be thousands of feet, and this is about 60 feet. Right? Something falls out. I want to say it's a body. Because there's no bounce to it, and it rolls a little bit. And then this thing hits the ground and rolls a slight bit. Claims they have shot down. Yeah, brutal, brutal, brutal. Let's end the. Oh yeah, okay. Let's stop presenting. It's just the wildest video I've seen in a long time. I remember in Iraq, women Marine pilots copter shot out of the sky. I think that was Gabby Gifford. Uh, not what is her name? She's got another weird name. It's not like Gabby. It's Tulsi. Tulsi Gabbard? No, Tulsi Gabbard was shot in the head. It's the congresswoman with no legs. the Democratic Congresswoman pilot legless vet. Tammy Duckworth, right? So what did I say? Tulsi, right? Tammy. There was a rhymey IE-ish thing in there. So uh, Tammy Duckworth was shot out of the sky in her helicopter. She lost both her legs, but here she is in a wheelchair with one prosthetic. I don't understand it. Oh, maybe she's got more of one leg than the other leg. She gave more than I did. Yeah, she should be a congresswoman forever. I totally get that. But all these rich dill holes from Wall Street, go kick rocks. All right, that's it. 12:08. Shows in the box. Shows in the box. Shows in the books. I ask that you bear with me as this pod is under construction, and I'm trying to sort of get my personals where they should be because man, we'll figure it all out. I want to thank everybody. This is it Sunday session. You're good for 2 weeks. Your soul is cleansed. You are clean. And we'll see you in the next one. The next one is tomorrow, 6:30. Come on through. We'll either take Monday off or Thursday off, like we say. One of the two, but not both. And if we take Monday off, we might take Tuesday off. But if we take Thursday off, we might take Wednesday off, right? Just to get 2 days in there. But usually unlikely. We'll see you tomorrow. I have to go to the stationery store and buy some loose moleskins. I love moleskin books, but who don't? All right, that's it for us. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a good day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. Spring is in 14 days. So 14 days. 14 days. You know what I'm talking about. No mask mandates and spring. You'll be able to go out and it'll be like it never happened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one. Don't get fooled by these people. They want your vote and your attention, but they don't want to do anything for you. And what we need is something to be done about the criminal justice system. We need something to be done about the healthcare system, and we need something to be done about the political class, because quite frankly, they're really the problem. Um, we'll see you in the next one. And the next one is tomorrow. Like I said. All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.